Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, episode number 526. It's front office only. Is that what Jake called it? And we're going to enjoy it. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. My name is Jimmy. Trevor in front of his guitars wearing tie-dye, and producer BBD behind the dish. Trev wearing a Jake Sucks hat. Jake is not with us. He said front office only because you guys are players only. Is that what he said?
I don't know what he's talking about. Do you ever really fully understand Jake?
Not in text, man. I don't know. People that don't know Jake might not know that. Maybe the hardest person to understand what he's saying through text sometimes.
One time when we were on the Milwaukee trip last year, I forget the exact message that was sent, but I was with Rob in our hotel room, and Jake sent some message that Rob had no idea what he was trying to say. And I was meet him in the lobby.
I remember he did that with Sam once, and I've got 20 years of Jake text in my life, and I was like, he's asking you, actually, if this is that. And they're like, what? It's very funny.
Whenever he's serious, I don't like it. I'm like, why are you being serious? I don't stop being serious.
Always
just
joking.
Be Jake.
Always joking.
Hey, I didn't tell you I was going to do this, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Live.
Yeah.
You and I and Jake and BBD have talked about the format of the show, kind of where we want to take it, where we think it's gone. We're going to try something a little different today. We're still going to recap all the games and do that, but we're going to hit that quicker, and then we're going to talk about kind of bigger, broader topics over both leagues and the interleague today. I think it's going to make for like a smoother show.
We're trying something.
Here with us.
There's been a lot of internal talk about the format of the show. Somewhat impossible, somewhat stale. So we're doing it a little different. Trev and I are going to try it out while Jake's gone. And I think Jake's gone next Friday, or so are you. So there's going to be a little wiggle period.
What's that called?
I don't know. It's going to be an hour of me just telling everybody their team stinks. That's how people hear me anyway.
And that's not true. Like, you really enjoy the game of baseball.
And I don't care. I think because I'm indifferent, everyone just wants to hear praise. Like, I only dislike the Rays and the Red Sox.
Ooh, speaking of the Red Sox, might have a new nickname for them.
Okay, stay tuned. So, yeah, we're still going to do the baseball boogie music, but we're going to just hit all three kind of at the front and then little chatter about some teams. And then Trev and I both had, like, this is what I want to talk about, which I think is always makes for a better show if we're actually talking about things we want to talk about instead of just kind of like going down the list and be like, what about this series? Which, as you guys have noted over and over again, is really tough to do.
It is tough.
So,
and let's say what we always say, James.
Yeah, you guys know your teams better than we know your teams. For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Although I might know more than everybody. Like, I'll just say that right now.
That's fair. That's fair. Trev, your little hit on TV was awesome.
Really good.
Thanks, man. It was
they just come
at the
find
ball
you.
Game.
I know, but you're sitting there. Teddy looks so cool. You got your glove on.
People think I'm a dork for bringing my glove, but I'm like, dude, I could save someone's life with this thing.
You could.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like Hampel should be paying you big money because you're kind of bringing your glove cool again.
Did people see that as like nerdy, huh? Like a grown man with a glove?
Yeah. Well, they think you're going to steal balls from kids.
I just like having my glove on. And there's not a lot of times where it's socially acceptable.
You bring it on like every trip with you. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. You got a nice glove. It's all leathered up and shiny.
Show glove. Before we go on to the thing, I found the text I was alluding to with Jake and Rob. On the Milwaukee trip, Jake texted a group chat of all of us, Davis, do you need the soup case? And that was asking me if I needed the suitcase full of like headsets for recording the show.
Yeah. Well,
I only want to talk about Ian Happ on this episode.
Normal text would be BBD. do you need the suitcase?
Jake's not normal. He sucks. I'm happy he's gone.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I love him.
Homeowners.
Remember when people used to think I hated Jake?
Yeah, they used to think that you and him like really didn't like each other.
Like had like active beef on and off the court.
The truth is, when I first met Jake, I was like, who is this guy? What does he matter to me? And then I've grown into a big fan of Jake's.
Okay. Good respect.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. You have the National League.
I do.
4 minutes on the clock. What the hell?
All right, my people, let's do this. We're starting out in Slam Diego. Giants go down to San Diego and they lose. Padres take 2 out of 3. The first game, 1-0. We're wondering, are the Padres ever going to score a run with this badass offense? The answer to that question is yes. They went 7-4 in game 2 and 13-7 in game 3. There was some walk-offs. There were some big moments. There was Josh Hader having some hiccups. We'll talk about that. Evan Longoria, did you get one stolen from you? You did. Jerkson Profar, nice catch there. Padres wake up. They take 2 out of 3. They're looking good. Moving on, Reds. That's the Reds at the Mets. That's why I said that, people. Mets sweep the series, 5-1 Mets, 6-2 Mets, 10-2 Mets. This one probably went like everyone thought it was going to go. Domination station from the Mets. Game 1, Bassett goes 8 innings pitched, 1 unearned run. Game 2, Carlos Carrasco goes 6 2/3 with 2 earned runs. In Game 3, Taijuan Walker goes 6 innings pitched with 2 earned runs. They just are hot right now. Scherzer and DeGrom didn't even have to throw. They sweep the Reds because, of course, they do. They are the Mets, and not in a bad way. That's a good way of them saying that. Marlins go into Philadelphia. Phillies take 2 of 3 from them. 4-1 Phillies, 4-3 Phillies before the Marlins did it in Game 3, and they went 3-0. Phillies at one point had 7 wins in a row. They're surging. Wheeler was 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run in Game 1. Syndergaard looked really good for them. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. In Game 2, they beat Sandy in that game with a late comeback there. They lose Game 3, and they also might lose Kyle Schwarber. Got a little calf strain going on. That is not good as they head into a matchup with the Mets, but they do take 2 out of 3 there. Phillies looking good. JT Realmuto is feeling it right now. Moving on, Cardinals at Rockies. The Rockies take 2 of 3. Was this a look-ahead series for the Cardinals? They got a big one coming up against the Brew Crew. 16-5 Rockies in Game 1. It was just all Rockies. I think they scored 9 runs in the second inning or the third inning, something like that. 9-5 Cardinals in Game 2, then 8-6 Rockies in Game 3. It was Nolan Arenado's, homecoming type thing. He crushed it, had some really good defensive plays, hit a homer. There was one ball, James, we'll talk about it. It was knocked about 500 feet in this series. That's what happens in Colorado. They take 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. After that, Pirates at D-backs. We're talking about 2 young squads trying to figure themselves out. D-backs take 3 of 4. It goes 3-0 D-backs, 6-4 D-backs, 6-4 Pirates in Game 3. And then D-backs win the last one, 9-3 as well. Gallen looked really good. 7 shutty, 8 Ks, 2 walks for them in Game 1. Tel Marte and Jake McCarthy had 2-run singles in the 7th in Game 2. Bumgarner gets hit around in Game 3. And then Merrill Kelly does his thing. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, though. D-backs had to take the lead with 7 runs in the 7th. Emmanuel Rivera coming over and doing his thing. They end up taking 3 of 4 from the Pirates, and I believe this is the last series in the National League, and it is. Nationals going to Chicago, and the Cubs win 2 out of 3. 6-3 Cubs, 6-5 Nationals before the Cubs win the rubber match 4-2. And that, my friends, is what happened in the National League. I do want to mention, in that game, Joey Meneses. This is in the Nationals Cubs series.
Yeah.
Teammates with this guy. All he's ever wanted to do is make it to the big leagues. He had to go over and play in Asia for a little bit. Gets his chance up. He hits the go-ahead 2-run homer in the 8th. He's getting a chance there, and I love it. Joey Meneses is a guy who sometimes I tell people, you got to root for guys.
Okay.
Just trust me on this one.
He's a guy.
He's the guy.
He's one of them.
Stand
Really
up,
fun.
dude. He can bang the ball too. I'm happy he's getting an opportunity.
Joey Meneses, noted. I know that the Mets are not one of the big topics at the end, so I just want to quickly give them 30 seconds of time and say I'm very excited for them in the postseason. I hope the Yankees are there too and New York's jumping, but I just want one of the New York teams, and I think the Mets look so good. I know the Reds are not a great team. They've actually been playing better late, but they traded away a lot of their studs. But to get those 3 pitching performances, to hold a team to 5 runs over 3 games, and your starters all go deep, and DeGrom and Scherzer did not pitch. They just seem to be having so much fun. Vogelback walking up to Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. And it was Bassett who said, like, you got to do it. He was on the Gotta Believe KFC podcast where he said that, if you want to hear it. But they just got good mojo, man. Like, they're being silly with Buck Showalter, which is a guy that usually doesn't do that. Lindor's going off. So
Lindor's looking nasty out there, dude.
Not a deep Mets talk on this episode, but fully appreciate what's going on. I'm really excited for the postseason. We got a lot of Mets fans in the office. It's going to be fun.
The Mets look great. You got Diaz, and his trumpet song is, lighting the world on fire. His run is so good when he does the shoulders like this. I love that. They have a massive series coming up here. Phillies, Mets. It's not like for the division or anything like that, but 2 teams playing really well, going at it, and the pitching matchups are just like banging, bro. So this is we're getting the guys. We're getting Suarez versus Scherzer. I think it's Nola versus DeGrom, and then Wheeler's pitching for the Phillies. And I don't think they've announced who they're going to go with in that game 3. But I'll tell you this. I was sitting next to Tyler McGill's parents because his brother Trevor is on the Twins.
Tyler.
And I was asking, like, hey, when's this guy coming back? Like, Mets are looking really good. Like, and they said August 16th seems to be the day. They're going to put him in. They're going to put sources. They're going to put him in the bullpen to see how he does. And that, to me, you got a guy like that who has an arm like him. You put him in the bullpen. Like, every once in a while, that happens where you got the guy starting, and then you put him back in the pen, and then he becomes this lights out dude during the postseason. This could be the guy. Do the Mets need any more weapons? Because they're about to get another one back.
Take them all. The Phillies also, we're not doing, that's not the big topic that you have lined up, but it's the same note. To get the 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs from Syndergaard, Wheeler 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and then Gibby. Did you see his diving play?
Yes.
Attempted. It was almost awesome. Like, that play, it looks like 2 blunders, but or some people were acting like it was, but if everyone saw, Reese tries to make the big scoop on the hot shot. It hits his glove, but doesn't squeeze it. It flings up. And then Gibby's eyes light up about, like, diving to his left to grab the ball. And then as soon as he has it, rolling or like then darting mid dive to the other side. Like, you're not going to do that, Gibby, but it was awesome effort. But, for the Phillies to get that pitching, and I think Real Muto's on a homer streak. Hoskins was on a homer streak. I mean, their homers in the last 10 games have to be insane because they hit 15 as a team against the Nationals before this. So that's going to be a fun series. We have a good weekend of matchups after kind of like there wasn't that many great matchups this week.
Yeah, and like the one thing I'm a little bummed about is I think Schwarber's going to miss all these games. I think they said he's day-to-day, but he had like a little calf strain. I don't see him getting in these games, which kind of stinks. Now you're out without Schwarber, you're without Harper. So, I guess Phillies fans, you could use that as an excuse if things go badly, but they're playing with confidence right now. And they should be. Like, this is the team that I wanted to see. Phillies doing it. I guess it's Rob Thompson. I guess it's Topper, bro. I just got to admit it, right?
Yeah, it's Topper. Anything about the Cards-Rocks series?
Yeah, no, it's cool. We had Arenado going back there. He kind of he looks so dang good, man. And he has a 6 WAR right now. I think he's second in all of baseball now, behind Judge. And Fangraphs Judge is way up there. And Arenado surpassed Goldschmidt in WAR. So people, if you go on DraftKings and you want to check out the NL MVP futures, I think you can still get Arenado at a pretty good price. I was looking up online. It was like plus 1,600 or Goldschmidt's like minus 140. Arenado's defense could catapult him if he continues to go offensively. Like this guy, I know we talk about him a lot, but just when you just really watch him play, I said it earlier today on Baseball Today. It's like the girl who dumped you or the girl like that just didn't work out, but then she goes and gets like hotter and it gets like with a guy that's probably hotter than you too. And you're just sitting back being like, oh man, look at what I had. Because he looks really happy, man. And the Cardinals are playing really good baseball. Massive series with them too, coming up against the Brew Crew.
Yeah.
There's one, the homer I was talking about.
Yeah.
McMahon, lefty, right? Gets like a curveball, 110 off the bat. He goes in the stands over the bullpen in right field. You know, they have that massive wall already. I don't know how many balls I've ever seen by a lefty go up into that portion. They gave it 495 on the StatCast, but I don't know.
Ohtani's batting practice ball, the home run derby.
Yes. But this was like right center.
Right center. Yeah, that was pulled. Little League World Series, they just tried to turn a double play, and the guy running into second had his slid, but his hands came up, and he just took the ball right to the wrist. Broke up the double play, but he's hurt. Wild. All right, let's go to the AL. You ready?
Well, no, I had some other things I wanted to say about
All right.
The Padres and their offense coming along. I talked about this a little bit on Baseball Today as well. So if you listen to that, you might hear it again.
Isn't the Padres your big topic?
Oh, we're not doing big topics right now.
Yeah, let's just because some the IL
these are little topics.
Getting the
these were little
topics out
topics
of the way.
See, look, we're working through this, people. I love it. Yes, let me save the big topic then. Yes.
Yeah.
You'll hear about
you ready for the AL?
10 minutes.
Let's go to the AL then.
The Guardians swept the Tigers, who are playing such bad baseball. They fired their GM, Avila, who's been there for 22 years, going in a new direction. Cleveland, on the other hand, they're winning. McKenzie shutout, 8 shutout innings. Bieber pitched really well. Quantrill, 6 shutout innings. Those are the last 3 starts from the Guardians before game 1, and then Bieber adds to it. And then in game 2, you had Cavalli, only 2 earned runs. We only went 4 innings, and then Plesac throws a good start. So the Guardians are still playing, man. They're having a ton of fun. 6 relievers combined for 5 shutout innings with Karinchak and Clase closing it out. Good vibes there. Awful vibes in Detroit. I mean, like really bad vibes. They thought they were at the breakthrough point of this rebuild, and it turns out they are like redoing it again. I don't know. They're bringing in a new GM. The Yankees went west to play the Mariners. They won the first game 9-4. The second game was an absolute doozy, a 13 inning, I believe the longest extra inning game since the new Manfred Man rules. 0-0 tie, really good pitching, really good defense on both sides, really bad hitting on both sides, and absolutely atrocious base running by the Yankees. Embarrassing, atrocious. The last 3 innings of extra innings, Trev, they only had sent 2 batters to the plate the first 3 extra innings. The 10th, 11th, and 12th, they only sent 2 batters because they made the free base runner, they turned into an out 3 times in a row. Unbelievable. And then Robbie Ray versus Cortez in game 3 was a nice, fun baseball game. You had good pitching, you had timely hitting, and the Mariners come through and beat the Yankees 4-3. I thought they were good games. Mariners were better. Yankees still have some stuff to work on. Rangers go to Houston, and the Astros take 2 out of 3. Urquidy and Martin Perez both get hit in game 1, which was odd.
Not Framber.
Not Framber. Framber's nasty. It's like 19th quality start in a row or something like that in game 3. And the Rangers won the Verlander start in extras. How about that? Tavares with a big outing. Woodward says, I am proud of him. He didn't say it like that, but he said it. Dusty made some good quotes about drugs. Blue Jays and the Orioles, only 2 games. Rain delay postponed. Orioles win both. Manoah gets starts and they dink in some singles and then put some runs up on him. Come back later. Lyles and Bradish, something kind of Bradish, I think is his Twitter handle. He actually has been really good since coming back from the IL. Orioles still fighting, man. More on them to come. White Sox and Royals. The Royals take 3 out of 4 from the White Sox. More on this series to come. Greinke had bases loaded, no one out in the heart of the White Sox lineup up and got through it. And I'm just like, come on, White Sox, which is apparently what all of them are saying as well. Yes. That's my topic for later. Angels and A's played, and the Angels swept the A's. I don't have much on this. I wish I was more excited. I actually watched game 1, and then it was a good, scoreless game. Ohtani almost gets hurt, come back. I don't know. That's all. I can't hear the music. Did I go way too long?
I think you did great, bro. I can't hear the music either.
I can't hear the music, and then I forgot to set my timer to check.
No, you're good. You beat it
it
by about 50 seconds.
Oh, nice. Sped through. Yeah. So I want to talk about the White Sox. BBD has the Orioles, Seattle on deck. So Trev, are there any other teams that you're interested or curious? Because I did watch a bunch of the highlights and the recaps, and
I want to go back because I forgot. I had this queued up in my mind. It's the Pirates-DBacks. I understand these are teams that are not involved in the race right now, but there was an interesting play, kind of like a double play at the end of a game. Not the end of the game, but towards the end of the game. Ke'Bryan Hayes, first and second, Ke'Bryan Hayes short hops a ball. They throw to second. And then the second baseman, for some reason, instead of just firing to first base, decides to I think it was bases loaded, actually. Decides to get the runner at third in a rundown. So the run ends up scoring. Then the third baseman goes back and tags or that wasn't third baseman. It was a shortstop. Goes back and tags third base. And it's like, well, it's not a force out anymore. So then he runs the runner back. And then the runner doesn't just put his foot on the base. He stands next to the base. So then the guy tags him.
Why did
he's out?
On purpose?
It was the craziest. I was like, what is going on here? The baseball IQ was negative in this play right here. I just didn't understand it. So the Diamondbacks end up scoring a run on it, but it was like, we like to talk about positive baseball IQ. This was negative baseball IQ. And
Diamondbacks just run. That's their thing these days. They just like running.
It's tough. Anyways, I had to get that off because I was thinking about, what just happened? The runner, all he had to do, he was already back. James, he was back at second base with 2 or 3 seconds to spare, and he just stood next to the base.
Weird.
And they just tagged him. I don't know what happened, dude. Anyways, let's get back to
the Guardian. The Guardians aren't part of a big topic, but they definitely deserve to be talked about. They sweep the Tigers, which is almost like the Mets sweeping the Reds, but the Guardians aren't the Mets. They're good, but you know what I mean? It's not like they're not the best in the league, but they are atop the division now, Trev.
Yeah, well, I was sitting at Dodger Stadium. They had already won their game, and the Twins were I think at the time they were up on the Dodgers. So we're like, all right, they got to win to keep pace, and then obviously they lose. So now the Guardians are up. That's still a 3-team race. I know we're going to talk about the White Sox. The Twins, to me, looked a little overmatched there out in LA, which is maybe you expect that, but I don't like that attitude that I saw from them. But good on the Guardians, man. They just keep going.
Some cool quotes. Plesac said, "We're buzzing. You can tell we have a winning streak. Guys know how to win. We're playing together. Timely hitting. It seems like everything is coming together right now." And it's pronounced Clase, right?
Yes. Why? What's up with Karinchak?
He's not.
Is he self-aware now? Because it's taking it to a whole nother level now. Every single strikeout at the end of an inning, he's taking his hat off, throwing his arms up, going nuts.
Last weekend he did it, and I was reading his lips to Rosie and everybody. It was a weird phrase that he was saying. I forget what it was though.
If you're a Guardians fan, do you guys put this in the chat? Do you guys like that, or is it what's going on now?
I think he's got some off the field other stuff that have people out where If he was more Brett Phillips vibe, maybe they'd be more into it. So I think it's a tough combination.
To me, I'm like, I don't like it. And I'm like, what?
No, it's too,
What's
I
happening?
like some shit, but not that. It's too much.
Okay.
But I like this quote from Brian Shaw on the Guardians about Clase. He said he's starting to learn his finger pressure. He's starting to learn command. He's starting to become an elite pitcher.
I think he's kind of been one, but like if he's making
had
adjustments like this
forever. Yeah, he's had the electricity in his arm for a while. That's cool to hear someone else say about you.
We've talked about this quite a bit on this show. I mean, the pitchers they have the tech, and if this guy is now learning how to manipulate the ball even more than a freaking 1,000-mile-an-hour slider, then I don't know. I don't know how the game I think might self-destruct because pitchers are just going to get too good. I swear, man. I swear we haven't even got to the point yet where like everybody takes the jump. A few pitchers have used technology to get better and to get back in the game. But once everybody starts doing it, I don't even know what's going to happen. Caleb Thielbar, I'm going off on a little tangent here, but this is important. Caleb Thielbar is a left-handed pitcher from Minnesota. Okay. He was a good pitcher, relief pitcher for us when I played there. Took a couple years off, was coaching college baseball, Jimmy. They say, hey, come try out because he has like 100% spin efficiency on his pitches. Like this is a guy that organizations dream of. So he's like all up in the numbers. He's learned to use this tech, and now he's back in the big leagues doing his thing. And it's like, I don't want to say it's easy for these guys because you still have to do it, but like, holy crap, man. What are we supposed to do as hitters?
Well, the shift getting eliminated might help. They should change the strike zone to lower it a little again. I think
please help us. I think that's what hitters are saying. SOS, bro.
Yeah, I think some of that stuff's going to happen. Dusty Baker has some awesome quotes. Did you not hear the one about drugs?
I didn't hear the one about drugs. I knew he's quarantining right now. He didn't get to watch
quarantining,
the game.
So he's in a mood.
Is he on drugs?
Out. What's that?
Is he taking drugs? He might be.
No, they asked him because like the Astros are kind of going through that August. They were going through a little August malaise of like, we're in first place. What the fuck? Who cares? It's the dog days of summer. And they asked Dusty about that. And man, he had I think I remember. He said, well, back in my day, we had Mother's Little Helpers to get you through that, but we don't have those anymore. And it's I mean, I was almost going to build an award around this because it's like, all right, maybe baseball's too long. I mean, here you have managers saying, yeah, back in my day, everyone needed amphetamines and drugs, speed just to get through, just to like get up for an August game.
It's the truth, was
boring. I know it's the truth. It's a long season.
I never took steroids. I've never taken amphetamines. I've never taken Adderall. I've never done anything like that. You know what I played on? Sugar-free Red Bulls, bro. Like, come on, dude. What?
Yeah, it's a funny quote.
I'm too clean.
It was it's funny. Now that I watch a lot of other sports in other countries and stuff because I have a baby and I'm just whatever's on at 9 a.m. I'm watching, and then whatever league it is, it was like I was watching the National Rugby League. I was like, what the fuck is this? So I Googled it and I'm reading and I'm like, damn, man, we play 162 games. I can't find another league that plays 100.
There's nothing, bro. I mean, it's basketball and hockey have half the games. Football has, obviously you can't play that many games in football because of the violence that occurs. But
yeah. Dusty also said OPS is fan stuff. He doesn't base his lineups on OPS, which is not true. Teams actually do OPS, but I'm sure there's other stats he doesn't. But he started Gurriel over Mancini. And Mancini's been hitting the ball. And he said, I need a fly ball pitcher for Framber. He's only played 18 games in the outfield for Baltimore. If I got Framber pitching, I need Yuli. He's the Golden Glove. There's only one Gold Glove. If I got a fly ball pitcher, Mancini only played 13 games in Baltimore. I got to play my best fly ball guy out there.
Is Framber a fly ball pitcher?
I guess so. I don't know.
I don't have in my fly ball pitchers. I don't have Framber in my mind, but maybe
I love that
BBD
answer
is.
though. It's real answer and good insight.
Oh my God. We got someone in the chat telling me that they've been using tech since Nolan Ryan and Tom House. Who is this in the chat? DW. Listen, man, I get that there's been stuff around. You don't understand the level that these guys are using it. Every single bullpen, even when they're playing catch flat ground, they do stuff. It's different. I don't want anyone telling me this. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean
what's going on right now
Yankees
is
just built
crazy.
the Yankees just built their like Rapsodo state of the art pitching lab like 2 years ago, and then they didn't do it earlier. But yeah, they use tech, but not every session. You know, they would have
Dude,
to
there wasn't even the internet when no one.
They would have to
was
go
around.
they would have to go to Tom House's like setup, and like he would run their data, and now he probably does 3 times a year or whatever.
Yeah. So people in the chat are backing us up, saying that Framber has one of the highest ground ball rates in the game. So I don't know what's going on now.
That's the quote.
I know. Dusty's, he's quarantining. People aren't meant
Maybe
to be
he meant
alone.
at first base.
I don't know. We're not going to go too far into Yankees Mariners, although I wish we would, because
we got Mariners coming up. Yankees lost out on Carpenter, like he broke his bone. That's not good. Rizzo comes back.
Oh, we're gonna do the Mariners. Yeah, okay. We'll do the talk about a little bit later. I remember you mentioning that.
BBD, hit us with the IL, and then let's get into these big old topics.
In the interleague, first we're going to go to Trev's LA, where his Twins faced his Dodgers. Dodgers took both. All 3 of these series are 2-game sweeps, so kind of boring, but the Dodgers, their winning streak's up above 10 games, 3 sweeps in a row. Twins fall out of first place. We just talked about the Guardian side of that. Yeah. Taylor hit a go-ahead home run in the 6th inning of Game 2. Gallo hits his first home run as a Dodger, went the other way with it. He had some quotes about enjoying having a beard again, which Reddit people took too seriously. Over to Milwaukee, where the Brewers swept the Rays. Brewers win 5-3 and 4-3, so a couple close ones. Extra innings in Game 2. The Rays are 7-11 since the break. Only 1 win streak within the 7 wins. They won 3 in a row at one point. Wander Franco's been running, throwing, and hitting off a tee. Could be ready to take live BP potentially today. Manny Margot starts a rehab assignment. He's fun to watch. Hope he's back soon. Taylor Rogers received a cortisone injection in his knee. And over in Boston, the Braves came to town, swept the Red Sox, winning the first game in extras. Second game, they win 8-4. Maddox stuck an ice cream cone in Grisham's face. The rookie who came up made his debut in homer. That was cool. Braves have only bunted 3 times all season and only did it once. That resulted in a hit. They had a big bunt over the week. Freed goes on the 7-day concussion IL, retroactive to Monday. Sad, don't like that. Bunch of 2-game sweeps. Don't care about those. That's the IL.
Good job, BBD. We actually were watching the game live when Freed injured himself. Like went for an errant throw, tried to like cut it off and throw home. His feet like clipped each other and then just banged his head. I thought he was just embarrassed at first because like it was like a pretty bad looking blooper type play, but he smacked that thing, dude. So concussions are no joke. Hopefully he's all right, man.
I don't think I've ever had one. I've never knowingly had one. I mean, I've gotten hit really hard and saw stars twice in hockey. Like had to put my head between my knees because I felt like I was going to throw up, but it went away. But I don't know. I had a hockey team that had like 5 concussions. It was scary.
This one we can start Twins and Dodgers. I was at both of these games. The vibe there was great. Second day was Freddie Freeman bobblehead day, and the place was jam packed. And I mentioned like the Twins' demeanor. It never felt like they were in there like, we're a first place team. Let's go take these Dodgers. Let's make this a statement series. It was more like, ooh, we're playing the Dodgers. Like this is gonna be tough. Like who's behind me right there?
Hi, Isla.
God, I love it. Love construction. Anyways,
That doesn't
one
fare
thing I
well
wanted-
for the Twins, man. That's like kind of their thing.
I know we need them to have that confidence because, you know, we talk about in the playoffs, like they haven't been able to get it done, obviously. And you got to fake it, man. I told Peter this morning, I said, if there's one trait that I have, it's the ability to conjure up confidence when maybe I shouldn't have confidence. I have it in spades. I don't know why, but I can make myself feel confident pretty much in any situation. The Twins
Jake has
did not
that as
display
well.
that. Yeah.
I don't have that.
The Twins didn't have it, and it kind of showed during the games, even when they were up 4-2, which in my interview, I missed the chance to say 4-2.
I thought you were going to say it too.
Missed that opportunity to do it. But it just, the Dodgers lineup is just absolutely relentless. It just never stops. Whenever the Twins needed to make a big pitch, they didn't. Whenever the Dodgers needed to make a big pitch, they did.
You got Muncy and Belly hitting now.
Muncy's doing the step back thing. I put the video. I was watching him hit. I was
like
what
that.
Is he doing the step back? And he just said he tried it out. It's feeling good to him, you know, and people were like, oh, you don't need to make these big adjustments. So it's like, you know, he might do that for a couple games to get this certain feeling back up into the hip. And then maybe he lets go of it. You know, you're making adjustments. The way he's been kind of hitting this year, he's searching for things. One last point on that game. It was the loudest I've ever heard anybody get booed. My kids were actually scared. And Dodgers fans were fine. They weren't saying anything crazy. There was a couple of "you sucks" and a lot of cheaters. I had to explain to. I was sitting with a couple of young Twins fans, Jace Tingler's kids, and Mike Herman, the traveling secretary. His kids were there too, and Teddy and Isla. And I had to explain to him, like, they were saying, "Why is he a cheater?" And I had to explain to him the situation. So the Dodgers fans weren't being bad about it, but loud, dude. And Correa kind of feeds into it. He's looking into the stands a little bit. He did not have a great series. I don't know, man. I think it's just going to always happen for him. He just has to wear it. But it was loud.
I mean, he leaned into it from the start. So he really, he was cutting WWE promos where Altuve was definitely not doing that. We'll see if it fades. But Altuve won the MVP. So that's kind of where that goes.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. We are going to get into some topics. Trev wants to talk Padres, Hater. I want to talk White Sox. We got Orioles and Mariners on the docket. We have standouts and all that. Let's get into the topics. Brought to you by, ready for it? LinkedIn.
Yes.
As you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. Jake loves LinkedIn. I think he's probably going to be upset he didn't get to do this ad read first time we're doing this one. He's just a connection guy. It's all Jake is. Network. My dad, I think any business professional just absolutely loves LinkedIn. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills, experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview. I think Jake's Jessica went viral on LinkedIn a couple year or two ago. Yeah, a couple times. Yeah, she's like a star. I use LinkedIn to have a secret conversation with a secret friend. It's the only place we message each other, and it's beautiful. Like, I have notifications on for his messages. It's wild. So thanks, LinkedIn, for giving me a secret pen pal. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/talkin. That's linkedin.com/talkin to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
I had a buddy who was saying this is almost like a new social media type app. And you said Jess went viral, and I haven't been able to use LinkedIn. I better set up a profile. I don't know what my title is, but can you give me a cool title so I can I don't know. I want to brag on LinkedIn.
Just do professional player. I think Gallo has a LinkedIn. I think there's professional players that have them.
There's weirdly a lot of MLB players that say their bio is, or their title is just MLB player at Baltimore Orioles.
That has to be the teams made it for them. I don't know, but there are a lot of players that have LinkedIn.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm in. I'm in.
dude. And it's cool. You can see how, I don't know if people want this, but you can see how big, like you could go Yankee scouting department and just see everyone that works for there because it's in their bio. And you just click New York Yankees and see the people who work for the Yankees, and you see the scouting department, and then you can go to another team and see their scouting department. And it's like 2 people, and it's like, it's interesting stuff. I've gotten lost in that web.
That's interesting. Can I link my OnlyFans on my LinkedIn?
Of course you can.
I don't see why not.
Yeah. Let's talk Padres. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to shout out Gallo, hitting the homer. BBD mentioned it a little bit. Of course, he's feeling more comfortable in Los Angeles. Like, of course he is. That should not be a story. Like, the pressure is off of him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's performing. I think he hit a homer.
Yeah, he's feeling better.
I think it's a small enough sample that the homer has his numbers now overall good with the Dodgers. So
I am salty, sure, whatever you want, but man, every like Talkin' Yanks episode this season, I would talk about how surprised I was how much support Gallo got. I would ask Jake, why is it? Because he's Italian? Like, is it because like why? I had never seen someone perform as poorly and get as much support from. I'm not talking on Twitter or social medias because that's a shithole and a terrible like place. In the stadium, you go to a game, Gallo before every at bat as he walked up. I just had never seen it, and like you can go back and listen to Talking Yanks. This isn't me revisionist history. I would say, how come he's getting so much support? What's going on here? So for him to constantly be talking about how he didn't get support from the fans is irking me.
I can see that.
Because I'm like, dude, there's never been someone who performed as poorly as you that was as in the stadium. Again, social media is a shithole. Like, social media would have you believe that Brett Gardner is hated by Yankees fans, and you go to the stadium and he's a standing ovation every single game.
Yeah,
like Twitter's just not real. But yeah, so. And the LA writers are definitely like
easier.
They're squeezing it out of him right now so they can rile me up.
But everything is less stressful.
Absolutely,
for him,
man.
I think
New
York
City, even if you're not a pro athlete, is a fucking bottle of stress. It's the fastest.
You're right. You're totally right. If you're just visiting there, you're like, holy.
Yeah, if you're visiting New York, if you're like, let's go for a day in Manhattan, you're stressed. I mean, I don't know. It's a stress ball.
At the end of the day,
yeah,
it didn't work out in New York. And that's happened many times. And it is difficult to play there. And people always get on me when I say, shit, it's hard to play in Philadelphia. It's hard to play in New York. It's hard to play in Boston. Like,
no,
these are places it's difficult.
And he got booed when he didn't perform, but he got more support than I've seen a struggling player get.
I think there's only a few stadiums that you'll ever really get booed at. Honestly, like, for not performing. Like, you might get booed for other reasons, a visiting player, whatever. But like, I feel like there's only a few stadiums in all of baseball, a few fan bases in all of baseball that'll like really boo you. And
yeah, man, it's like
Texas wasn't one of them, bro.
He'd get
when you live other states, like you never hear the car horn, and then you move to New York or New Jersey, and it's a beep first state, and it's not that they're as angry as you perceive them to be if you're from a place that doesn't boo or doesn't beep. It's just like more casual. Like, if you drive where me and BBD live, which is the North Jersey suburbs, I mean, you're going to hear car horns every time you're out. And then when I lived in Northern California, you just never heard someone beep. Yeah. Unless it was like, hey, the light turned green. Beep, beep, beep.
I got booed at Target Field. Okay, so it can't happen. I played so poorly that Minnesota people, some of the nicest people in the world, booed me.
They booed performance. Jeter got booed. Everyone loved him. Everyone had posters of him. He had a bad stretch and got booed. Like, it's not a big deal.
When did he get booed?
He went over 30. They started booing him. It's not what others perceive it to be. Like,
it makes me so happy.
When people are booing in the stadium like that, they're not.
It's like how in some households cursing is nothing. It's not a big deal. Some places, if you curse, it's like the worst
my mom
thing that can happen.
would call me little shit, and I would call her big shit when I was like 5 years old. Like, that was our nicknames for each other. Like, that wasn't a curse word in my. It's just different. But people put their interpretation of it on Northeasters and think that like we're super angry all the time. It's like, no, it's just nothing. Whatever.
Okay.
That's a different story. All right, let's go Padres.
Padres coming out. We know the offensive struggles they had after the trade. All we wanted to talk about was Juan Soto. What are we going to do with this lineup? This is the murderer's row. I think I said, is this the best 1-2-3 punch in baseball? And people were kind of got mad at that because people get mad about everything nowadays online. But it was really good to see them break out. A lot of cool quotes. Machado, once we get going, we get hot. It's going to be a scary lineup. There's only one way to start a winning streak. That was from Soto. It's winning the first game. I just like that the length of their lineup, and it was inevitable for them to get going here in the third game, where they won 13-7. All 9 Padres recorded hits. And Soto, another quote here: when you know you have a good lineup, you don't worry about hitting the winning homer. You just pass the baton, let the other guys do their job like we did yesterday, like we did today. It's interesting to say because it's interesting that he said that, because you hear teams say that, but not with power hitters like the Padres have. Usually it's like, get on for these guys. But now, like, when you got a guy like Juan Soto, who's in the middle of your lineup, talking about passing the baton and just having good at bats, I think that really resonates with the rest of the lineup. If the big dogs are saying like, hey, let's just go have good at bats, I'm going to pass it to you, I think that instills confidence in the bottom half of the lineup as well. And like I said, it was only a matter of time before the offense started clicking. I'm kind of all in on the Padres. Snell looked really good, and he's kind of like a bonus piece-ish for them. Like, if he turns it on, he's kind of always like a late bloomer in the season too. Like, if he gets going and the Padres pitching comes back and the starters are what they can be, then this is a team that's very scary. That's very much a World Series contender. Obviously, they're all in, and they prove that. But James,
yes,
they got a guy right now that's supposed to be closing out their games for them, who had a little hiccup this outing in this series. He was all over the place. He was walking people. He threw a ton of pitches. Started checking into it a little bit, and I mentioned this on Baseball Today, but there's an article out there at sportsinfosolutions.com, and they're talking about Hader and his release point. Now, he's been one of the most unhittable pitchers in the last 5 years. And a lot of it has to do with like deception. He throws from way over on the first baseline, got kind of like a lower arm slot the ball comes out of, and that helps the perceived velocity. And all that means is, for all the old school baseball dudes, it just means the ball gets on you. Like, what if it's 95, it feels like it's 100. And the reason it does that is because it doesn't have a lot of like vertical drop on his fastball. He comes from a low arm angle, and it kind of just stays there. So at the top of the zone, you're getting guys taking that pitch or swings and misses. They're just not seeing it well. But for some reason this year, the arm release point is 2 inches higher, and the fastball at the top of the zone hasn't been what it needs to be. And it kind of like led me into thinking like, well, is that what the Brewers saw? Now, like, there were other reasons the Brewers got rid of him. They next year he's going to be making a lot of money, but this release point thing seems to be an easy fix. And I asked Peter, like, isn't that just like an easy fix? Like, you just kind of like, you got all the cameras, you have the data, can't you just do it? He said yes. So it makes me wonder, like, why isn't there a fix yet with this? And is that why the Padres are like, sure, we'll go get this guy and we can fix him? There hasn't been a lot of games in San Diego. I think he's been made a couple appearances. Like, so maybe they've already tried to do that, but that's interesting to me. And that's something that Padres fans have to look out for, come September, come playoff time, is like, does this guy have that pitch anymore? And with all the cameras and, like I said, all the data, he has the information too. And now it's up for him to make the adjustment. I'm just wondering why it hasn't happened so far.
I'm looking at the Baseball Savant. You can do like the image of the release point, so you can see that it is lower. Or It's higher this year.
It's higher this year. People are in June and July, they hit 306 and 36 at bats against his fastball. In the earlier months, April, May, they hit 0.086, 3 for 35.
It's higher, and also it's like skinnier, where last year there was, there's movement, a little movement. It was like it looked like a beehive, and now it looks like Marge Simpson's hair. Skinny. But I had a thought, it's just kind of a joke, but I was like, what if he just changes cleats and he's just got like taller cleats this year?
I don't know what it is, dude. But
I know, but it's
you
funny
gotta
it's funny that it can be anything. Like this could be, imagine if he was like, nah, I got new spikes, they're a little taller. And you're like, oh, okay, you're good. So it's not that. He has to know about it. They have to know about this. I mean, this is a reason some prospects get sent down and retool, because their release point's so different. Because you give credit to pitchers a lot, Trev, but you MLB hitters will notice the weirdest and most minuscule stuff about, I don't think this is a tipping situation, but you notice this stuff. And
it's not that you would notice the release point. And sometimes I guess you can, if a guy comes from different places on different pitches. I don't think you're going to notice the 2 inches difference, like higher on the fastball release point, but it's what the ball looks like coming out of the hand. If before it's staying true, and it kind of, gives that ride movement that we all talk about. And now it's not really having that effect. So guys are seeing it better. I mean, it's like a bread and butter pitch for him. Got to have that pitch going forward. And it is a mechanical issue. It's so easy to fix. And like, he hasn't looked terrible, but this is Josh freaking Hader we're talking about. You traded for Josh Hader. You expect a guy to be nearly unhittable, because that's what he has been. It hasn't been that way all this season. And I mean, this is a reason why. I kind of like when there are things like this, instead of a guy being like, instead of people saying, oh, it's shelf life of a reliever.
How was his September last year? Do you know? Because I'm looking. So I'm looking at his vertical release point. I like this stuff. And it was, I really don't know what this number means. 5.3 feet? No, it can't be that. But
release
his
point?
Yeah, feet. But he's taller.
I think that's what it is. Well, because you're going down, you're crouching down as you release.
Yeah, okay. So it was 5.3 feet, and that's kind of 5.3 is where it was at all of last year. And then it spiked up in September. And if you go back to 2020, and this is interesting. If you go back to 2020, oh wow, Trev, his release point on his fastball has been slowly climbing for years. What could that mean?
I'm not sure. Like I'm not a pitcher anymore. I still dabble in blitz ball, but I think maybe there's some fatigue issue setting in, or is it? It could be something before his release point also changing too. It could be, where he's starting on the mound, his stride length.
Yeah.
If his shoulder doesn't feel good when he releases from that point, so you kind of just subconsciously move up a little bit to feel that zip again. There's a lot of things that it could be. And it's interesting to me, because it seems like it's such an easy fix. And I've talked to pitchers about it, and they say, yeah, that is an easy fix, but it hasn't been fixed.
And it slowly got to where it is now. In 2017 through 19, it was like 5.1 inches. And then in 19, it spikes up a little bit. And then 20 it goes up. In 2021, started 5.2, ended 5.4 throughout the course of the season. And now this season started 5.4. It got up to almost 5.6. In the last month, it did drop back down to 5.4. But it is interesting that, and it's for his other pitches mirror that as well. Man, there's just so many aspects.
It's just something to look at. If you're a Padres fan, if you're a Hader fan, I mean, just kind of, let's see if he makes the adjustment. And this doesn't mean he's just going to get hit all the time. Like, he's still going to have good outings. He's got plus stuff. It's just this is the type of thing that could, and this is not hyperbole, people. This is the type of thing that could win or lose you a World Series. This is your closer.
Yeah. Rooting for him to fix it. He got saved by Machado's home run. That was nice.
Oh,
that was
my
a nice
gosh.
one. All right, let's. I want to
2-1 slider by Rogers. He freaking crushed that thing.
I want to talk about the White Sox. That's what
Okay.
I texted you guys. There's an article that came out about the White Sox. There was the stats. Who sent us that? Jake sent us that Jay Kuda tweet. White Sox this year, 500 record. White Sox second half this year, 500 record. White Sox first half this year, 500 record. White Sox last 100 games, 500. White Sox since 1978, 500 record.
So, dude, have we fact checked this? Because he went on more and more about this, James. He added on to that tweet. And I don't think can't be true, bro. Last 70 games, 35 and 35. Last 80 games, 40 and 40. Last 100 games, 50 and 50. Last 120 games, 60 and 60. Last 140 games, 70 and 70. That's not true, is it?
That I don't know. Because then at the end he said
absolutely crazy.
The end he said last 140 games, 70 and 70. I'm afraid, which maybe he's joking about how mid they are. I have no idea. But we also got an article, and this leadership and fire and leadership has been the talk of the White Sox all year. We've talked about it. There's been conversations and quotes already, but we kind of got an article with a lot of different players' quotes on it because Cueto came out and said, like, we lack fire, basically. I can find the quote. So Daryl Van Schooen from Chicago Sun-Times wrote an article. And I was very interested when I was reading it because first Cueto came out and he said he like kind of questioned the team's fire after the game. And Cueto's been great. He's a veteran. Let me try and find the quote. He said, we need to be more aggressive, show more swagger. We can't get comfortable. We need to go out and play hard and show what we can do. We need to fight. We need to show the fire that we have if we have any. So, I mean, that's a veteran who came onto the team halfway through and wasn't like there last year and the rest and just kind of noticing the difference. And it's interesting because in 2018, was it? The White Sox were like the young, like swagger fire team. Like that was like
look like it. They still look like they have that, but the energy is zapped.
And then they asked Tony La Russa about Cueto saying that. And I do have to say this. I really respect La Russa's the way he handled Cueto aspect of this. Have you seen these quotes?
Yes.
Because La Russa said, I think it's a curious statement, and that's what he's getting dogged on. But he did go on to say, it's better to be discussed with the family. If there's a problem, we'll straighten it out, like keep it in-house. Very, like that's who he is. But he did say about Cueto, I was surprised he said that. His opinion is welcome, and it also carries weight. The guy is experienced. I'll ask him about it. So I like that he basically said, I'm surprised he said that. I wish he kept it in-house, but I definitely value what he says, so I'm going to go talk to him. So whenever I can show love to show appreciation for La Russa, I'm going to do it because not that often now. Because now I'm going to pivot and say, it's clearly leadership. Like this is a team searching for leadership. Like the Blue Jays said when they fired Montoyo, they're like, we needed a leader. Like we needed someone to rally the troops and like get us going. And I mean, Cueto says that. Our guy Giolito says, I don't want to speak for everybody, but sometimes it's there to fire. Sometimes it's not. To climb out of a position we're in takes a lot of fight, takes some fire, playing with purpose. We're all trying, but it's not about trying. It's about doing. Have to have that passion and energy. Andrew Vaughn said, I'm not a big rah-rah guy, pretty quiet and soft-spoken. Whatever guys need to get themselves going on the field is great. Basically, Vaughn being like, don't ask me. Shut up. I'm good. And then they asked some other people, and there's a lot of quotes on it. Harrison said, everyone here knows he goes out and gives it everything he's got about Cueto. So if it's something he might have seen, and maybe the fire is just consistency, is no secret we haven't been as consistent as we like. It seems like a team searching for direction or motivation or something.
We've been talking about this for a long time with them. I mean, when I get guys,
but now we got like 5 different quotes on it, like some substance to it.
So I think when you said I give Tony props for what he said. I'm okay with him and he's a veteran, so it carries weight. But at the same time, he's like, it's a curious statement. Like, he's got to know the pulse of the clubhouse. Okay.
He's sleeping in the first inning, Trev.
I don't get it. And then this is the other kind of interesting aspect of this, because I've been calling for a moment from the White Sox, something to fire the boys up. Okay. So then we get this quote. But what's really interesting is this was through a translator. Okay. And I'm not saying this guy doesn't know how to speak multiple languages, because obviously he does, but sometimes things like get lost in translation. And maybe he said that, like, the last part of the quote, if we have any, like,
yeah,
that's kind of the whole thing. Like, if he just said, we need to show the fire that we have, end quote, no one's talking about this.
I know.
But
and
then
even Giolito's quotes were like, sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't.
I think that was after this, though.
Yeah.
So like the if we have any part might have just been like a throw in by the translator. I haven't gone back to the transcript. I don't know Spanish fluently, but like that part, to me, that was the whole that was the spark. I think this, not just him saying it, but Giolito now mentioning it, and it's going to be a topic in the clubhouse. This, you can't get away from something like this. I'm assuming Tony La Russa is going to have a meeting with the players about this, because if he doesn't, then holy crap, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you even there? Like, you have to address this. There's no doubt in my mind. You have to address this. This could be the spark that we've all like been waiting for the White Sox to take. And this is the division still up for grabs. Look, Cleveland is in first place right now by like a game, or like 2 games up on the White Sox, whatever it is. They're a really young team. They do have the starting pitching they're veterans there. I like the team. They're very exciting. The Twins are kind of like, I still don't know how to feel about them. Like, they're hanging on for dear life. That's kind of my opinion. That's kind of how it seems like to me. Like, if the White Sox got hot, there's no doubt they can go run this thing. They still have a bunch of games against both those teams. This could be the moment if it's handled correctly. Now, do I trust that Tony La Russa is going to handle it correctly? Fuck no, I don't. I don't. But we'll see.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, why? Sometimes you can pinpoint it to a lot of other stuff, and they're not playing well. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, keeping Tony around is like, for what? I don't know how many years he's got going, but you definitely had a team that was full of vim and vigor and cocky as shit in a good way. That's just dulled down, unmotivated and directionless. And there was like one big change.
We had the Lance Lynn, Joe McEwing dust up in the dugout. I thought maybe that was going to be the spark, but then they smoothed it over, and then it's just kind of been ho-hum, ho-hum. When Jerry Blevins is texting me talking about the White Sox, saying they just have no life, they have nothing, that's very telling. Jerry does not talk poorly or badly about many things in life. He's a very positive person, and he couldn't help but call me or text me and tell me it looks bad.
Yeah. I was looking at like some offensive numbers for them, just trying to figure it out. I was actually like going through stats, hoping they would land in the middle more. Just like versus fastballs and versus changeups and shit like that. And oh man, did I just close it? Damn, I had something open. They're really bad versus fastballs and sliders. So Fangraphs has
all the pitches.
Yeah, the 2 main pitches you want to be good at. Fangraphs has here it is. So Fangraphs has like how many runs you score more than the average team versus pitches for their pitch value. So the White Sox score 22 less runs than the average team versus fastballs. They're not mid, they're bad. That is 24th out of 30 teams. And then they score 14 less runs than the average team against sliders. You don't want to be bad at both those pitches, Yeah. Like, there's another team that's really bad at fastballs. The Padres are really not great at hitting fastballs, but they're plus against sliders. So you can be those two pitches, because that's bullpen right there. I wonder what the White Sox numbers are against relievers then. I kind of want to go check that out because that fastball slider, that's relievers, right?
Basically, yeah, you pair yourself down to 2 pitches as a reliever most of the time. A couple pitches maybe to show, but your 2 main pitches are going to be a heater and whatever off-speed pitch.
Chicago White Sox are 19th in OPS out of 30 against relievers. So yeah, that's bottom of the league. Those are not pitches you want to be bad against. Where like the Yankees and the Dodgers are both pluses versus fastballs and pluses versus sliders, and the top 1-2 against relief pitching in baseball.
Dodgers are just good. They're just good, man.
Blue Jays are also the same. All right, BBD, let's go to the Mariners and the Orioles because Fangraphs has a very funny, and it makes sense, but it's funny when you read it, stat.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So the Orioles and Mariners have essentially the same record. I think Mariners are 1 game ahead right now after last night's games wrapped up or something. But they have essentially the same record. Fangraphs has the Mariners is very likely to make the playoffs, and they give the Orioles no chance or a half game out of a spot. And a few reasons. One, I mean, logically we know Mariners are probably more talented than the Orioles are going to have to play the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Rays more, and the Mariners, I think, did most of their games against the Astros already and get some extras against the Angels and Rangers and A's and the other mid teams there. They're not mid, they're bad, but just funny.
The Orioles have such an uphill battle. I mean, let me check his Baseball Reference does odds as well.
I have the remaining game strength of schedule rankings right now in front of me. As it stands right now, according to tankathon.com, that's where I'm at. Orioles have the 9th hardest schedule in baseball left. They have 7 against the Astros, 13 against the Blue Jays. And then they play a 3-gamer against the Yankees, Guardians, Rays, and Sox. Whereas the Mariners have the easiest remaining schedule in all of baseball.
Really?
They have 3 against the Braves, 2 against the Padres, and then 7 against the Guardians and 3 against the Sox. They're counting those as difficult games. They got a bunch against the Angels, the A's, the Tigers, the Rangers. Like, I'm assuming that that's kind of where the biggest discrepancy lies, is the strength of schedule. But maybe you got something else, James?
I think it's strength of schedule, but I was curious because the Orioles are in the East where there's a lot of teams that are over 500 and they're going through the Central, so that's not good. The Mariners have the easiest remaining schedule, but they, according to Baseball Reference, have played one of the hardest. At this point, the differences in strength of schedule, it's not like the NFL or anything, because at this point you play most everybody. So, it starts out like +5, -7. At the end, it's really like average -1 or -2. You don't get a large spectrum. But the Mariners have had the hardest schedule, according to Baseball Reference. And I was like, huh, really? Because how do the Orioles not have? I would have guessed the Orioles because they just have more teams. But I guess who have the Mariners been playing in the Interleague?
They had a lot of tough games going on early in the season. That's when I declared them dead, a lot of people were pointing to that. Hey, we got a really easy schedule coming up the second half, like da-da-da. And sure enough, here we are.
For the most part, their Astros games are pretty early. I'm sure they play them at least one more time the rest of the way. But
and then I'm trying to find. They played the NL East, so that makes sense. Did I completely freeze?
Everything sounds good. Videos are frozen, which is weird. But then now you guys are back.
Okay. Well,
happened once.
You can hear me?
Yep. Audio was always coming through with a little funky.
So baseball reference has it as the Mariners as 86% to make the postseason, or 89% to make the postseason, and the Orioles at 46%. So schedule matters. I will say the Mariners are a better team than the Orioles. The Mariners are a legit team. Like, I think they're the third best team in the AL. Or I don't even know how to do that right now because we have some weird stuff going on. But I think the Mariners are a very good team after seeing them, after seeing what Castillo's done in his starts, what Robbie Ray is doing. And then just kind of like they have a crispness and a timeliness, and more than anything, they have an intensity about them when you play the Mariners. The Yankees just played twice in the last 3 series, where it just feel like exactly the opposite of what we're saying about the White Sox and what you said about the Twins, where it didn't feel like they were up to task. Like the Mariners very much feel like they are up to the task whenever I watch them, whenever they play the Yankees. They're like, they have this energy about them. Like, yeah, we're going to give you a fucking game and we'll probably win, which is cool. So I like their pitching. The Orioles kind of have that. They're kind of just, I think they're better off having these odds because they're just, they're the, back against the wall Orioles.
I went to a couple of other different websites and the rankings are completely different. So who freaking knows,
Yeah.
dude? First
Yeah,
of
they
all,
all-
it's baseball. Second of all, like, whatever. Mariners seem to be galvanized. I think that's a good word for them. You go through some struggles together. You go through some battles, like literal fights together. Like, you start to get pretty damn close. Then you start winning together. And that's what really puts a team together, man. James, are you raising your hand?
No, I was stretching and laughing.
Oh.
Baseball Reference has the Tigers, the Angels, and the Athletics, or the Tigers, the Royals, and the Athletics. Their odds to make the postseason less than 0.1.
Are we haven't had elimination season yet? I feel like we're getting close to that.
And nobody's been mathematically ruled out, right?
I don't think so.
I think we're still a few weeks from when that usually starts happening.
Dude, the Orioles are kind of like you were on it first, James. You said the Orioles are really fun to watch, and now they got Bautista coming out to the wire, walkout song, get the whistles going on. Like, Odor is like, I know his like overall numbers aren't great. But
Wait, that's my award.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Come on now.
They got freaking Rutschman coming up. Like, he's crushed it. Mountcastle is like superhero against the Blue Jays. Like, like they have a lot of fun stuff going on there, dude.
Yeah, they play these games against the Blue Jays and they win. And yeah, man, they made some plays. They just got hits. They got some Manoah early, which I feel is against any good pitcher of his quality is very good. Rain delay happened at a good time. Like, actually, maybe a bad time. Bichette hit a bomb and then rain delay. They come back and they win. Although, did it knock Manoah out, the rain delay? Maybe.
We all, I believe, have the under on the Orioles, and they have made us look like fools, and we're happy about that. We don't want a bunch of crappy teams. Like, we want teams to play well, and they've done it, man.
Yeah, it's one of those cities too, in those ballparks. Like, I love Camden Yards. I used to.
It's amazing.
I used to go down there to watch because it's like a 4-hour drive. Or
and
maybe
there's cool
6
stuff
hours?
around the stadium and like,
yeah,
good vibe.
I sat next to a group of deaf people, and that was like a cultural cool thing. They were signing the whole time, and they didn't clap when they cheered.
Makes sense.
And I just like a little like I was like a high schooler or whatever. I was just a nugget. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Interesting.
I like
Yeah,
that.
it was cool.
They do the big thing during the national anthem. I like that
Yep.
too. It always got me. I always forgot about it. Oh, what the hell is going on here?
The fight broke out in the stands.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's good to talk
Orioles.
about the Orioles in this matter. Brandon Hyde's been freaking biting it for a long time, and now he's finally,
Good for them for sticking with them.
yeah.
That's what like we've said about these teams. Like Jake said that about Torey Lovello is like, and we keep saying that about the Phillies, who they just change managers every 2 years. Sometimes just let it go. I mean, and obviously these managers are not on teams with expectations, so they're just letting them run out the rebuild. But it's just let a guy like instill some routine and some energy and figure it out.
Yeah. The chat is saying, James, that there is a big deaf academy in downtown Baltimore. It's called Federal Hill. So that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. I'd chatter with him. Well, however best we could. I'm a
Baltimore to me is
wallflower. I'm a very I treat baseball games a lot like people watching at the mall, but not in a bad way. I just very much like taking in how other people. I did it however people watch the game and shit.
I think Camden Yards is going to be one of those stadiums that sticks around for a long time. I think
it's not that old.
It's not that old, but it has the feeling of a timeless ballpark. You got the thing. I hope they never change what's next to it, like because they've been building the skyline up around it. Like there's some new hotels that they've built, and then they have the warehouse in right field, and that's a big part of the Camden experience. You see the warehouse, Utah Street, all that stuff. I believe they own the warehouse, so hopefully if they put like a hotel or something there, I don't know if the vibe would still be the same. But if you get a chance to go to a game in Baltimore, the atmosphere is great, especially when the team is good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like that being good. I was gonna just say something and I forget.
Well,
damn.
Well, you try to think of
ships
that
in the harbor and stuff. Like, what's going on in Baltimore? You got pirate ships.
Oh, I was gonna say that the White Sox could have had the plans for Camden Yards. They turned them down. Built Cellular, which is as mid as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, like, do I like Cellular Field?
I mean, they've done some renovations since I lived in Illinois and used to go. But when I lived there in the early 2000s, it was as like bland, basic ballpark as you like. Yes, this is an MLB ballpark, but what's cool about it? I don't know. That's how it was.
Okay.
And they turned down the guy who designed Camden because they were like, no, retro ballparks aren't cool anymore.
Just give us cement.
Yeah.
And a big jumbotron.
Yeah. Comiskey.
Before we move on to the second half of the show, did this on Wake and Jake the other day, but didn't get to talk about it with you guys. Just Adley Rutschman is awesome. You take out his numbers on the year look good anyway, but you take out the first 15 games and it's 50 games of a 913 OPS. Then I looked at his baseball savant like bubbles the other day for the first time. Like what he's doing as a 24-year-old switch hitting rookie catcher. Very impressive. Like obviously he was the top prospect for a reason, but
also fun and energetic as well.
And like the defensive numbers love him too. Like he's doing everything.
They move the wall back and they go on a run. I know it's coinciding with a few people making their debuts. We just mentioned Rutschman and the bullpen's been great, blah, blah, blah. But I wonder if that's played a factor. Like,
it has to have. They would get shelled. All their pitchers are good now.
Interesting. People used to talk about the trees in center field at Target Field.
What about them?
They had him in 2010. We won 96 games. Then like a few guys on the team complained about him. They wanted just a black batter's eye. Nothing behind. And then since that day, they haven't been very good. I believe they're back. Something's out in center field now in Minnesota.
All right. Padres, White Sox, Mariners, Orioles. Talked about. We're good.
Big series. I know we don't talk about this a lot. Big series coming up. Brew Crew and St. Louis. They're 6-6 against each other this year. No game 163, people. So head-to-head matters if these two.
Oh, they're
teams
more than 6-6. I thought they were. Oh yeah, they're 6-6. But it's 3 4-game series.
Yeah,
and they've been 2-2. No one has ever left each other's presence a winner.
Yeah, 48 runs scored by the Cardinals, 44 by the Brewers. Like they're as locked in as you could be. And this, like we said, no game 163. So head-to-head will come into play here if the two teams are tied at the end of the year. So fascinating series for me. I love the matchup of those two teams.
And they both just lost, or the Brewers beat the Rays.
Brewers beat the Rays. Nice walk-off. Adames had it. We didn't really go into that much. Rowdy
2-game
Tellez
set.
kind of coming on, and he makes a play at first. He gets the lead runner, the Manfred runner, gets a ground ball to him, fires the ball over, gets the lead out at third base. Adames 2 pitches into the inning, walks him off. Or was it? I don't know if it was extra innings, actually. I got to go back.
I know he
and
walked
look.
it off.
But
Revenge game.
let me drop this stat on you, James.
Let's
For
hear
this
it.
tidbit, all right?
Time
Get
for,
your head ready, okay? Because I'm going to drop it on you.
Time for.
Do you think the
Trev.
Astros are a good offensive team?
Yes.
The Brewers and the Astros are like identical offensive teams. Go check out every single stats. The Brewers have them in a lot of categories that you wouldn't think. They have more homers, more stolen bases. They score more runs per game than them. They have a slightly higher OPS. Like, maybe they didn't need the offensive upgrade. I don't know. They're like a top 8 team offensively.
They've been
Pretty
do
crazy,
they
man.
strike out? Because the wild thing, and I don't know the Astros numbers this year, was the Astros would hit home runs, get walks, but also not strike out.
Yeah, they
Wild.
strike out a little bit more, but their on base percentage is higher. Like, it's kind of crazy.
The only question I have for the Cardinals is they lost 2 out of 3 in Colorado. Did they not use relievers on purpose because the Brewers series was coming up? Or because sometimes you prep. That Colorado series means a whole lot less than this upcoming Brewer series. A whole lot less. You would not burn any relievers if then they would not be available versus the Brew Crew. So I don't know if people know that or not.
And talking Yanks sharp stats, I mean, they just had to play the Yankees, who made them use all their good relievers a bunch.
Oh yeah.
Records after
Ollie
facing the
Marmol,
Yankees.
the coach of the Cardinals, the manager of the Cardinals, excuse me, said that there's no such thing as a big series. So I don't know if he approached that way or not.
That's a lie. These games mean 2. Not only do you win, you also give them a loss, and you're fighting for them in the division. So, I mean, that's the type of
if you're a manager, you know that.
That's the type of shit where it's just like, dude, you're just lying, and there's no real benefit to that lie. Stupid. All right, standout performances.
Oh yeah,
standout performances.
Oh, they
you get to go
brought to us
first
by someone.
Shady Rays, my favorite sunglass place. Sunglasses. You also get like the best deal I think that any of our audiences have ever got from a company. You can use code Talkin for 50% off 2+ pairs. So it's BOGO, but it's not simply buy one, get one free, because you can buy 3 for the price of 1.5, which would be buy one, get. Not going to be able to make an acronym out of that. Not smart enough to do that. Every pair is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day 1, they will send you a brand new pair. They're changing the way you wear sunglasses in the outdoors, offering the best combination of fit, style, performance with a big brand price tag. They have a ton of styles. I mean, when we went to the Shady Rays house in LA, the kitchen table was just lined with different styles. It's like a ton of different styles. So go check them out. Use code TALKIN, TALKIN, 50% off 2+ pairs of premium polarized shades. Standout
performance.
Trev, you want to go
I'm
first?
First, yes. And I'm giving it to my guy, Luis Castillo, traded over from the Reds to the Mariners. This time around, he's faced the Yankees twice. First one's kind of a snooze fest because Cole gave it up early on, so he kind of had no pressure on him. I wanted to see how he's going to do second time around against them, this time in front of the home crowd. 8 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 7 Ks, 2 walks. Are you up for the challenge? Is basically what we had to ask Luis Castillo, and he said, I got you guys. That's to do it. I mean, I guess you can think about it 2 ways. One, the Yankees didn't hit him well the first game, so are they going to hit him well the second game? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. But also you can think about it like, hey, they just got a second look at you. And usually when you see a guy more, you start to find some things out. I think it's pretty cool for him to go back-to-back games against the Yankees and put these numbers up that he put up, because he is going to be the ace, and then it won in the playoffs, and he's pitching like it, which is really cool.
And
So
he
congratulations.
did. He completely switched up his usage when he went to the Mariners. And I thought maybe it was going to be, so when he faced the Yankees the first time, he dropped the four-seam fastball from 40% to 22 and upped the sinker a ton. Now, that is a change a lot of teams are having guys make, especially when they trade for him and like, hey, this is what I think. So I was very curious. I was like, was that a setup game? Because he knew he was facing the Yankees again, and then he was going to flip the script again and go back four-seam and drop the sinker down. But no, he actually stayed with the sinker even more, bumped it up to 40%, which is what the four-seam was at 3 starts ago. So the Mariners not only traded for him, they're tinkering with his usage already, going to that two-seam, which a lot of teams have been doing for players, and it's working. But he went 40% sinker and then 26% fastball. So if you do math there, that's 66% fastballs. And then slider and changeup, he only threw like a couple of those. So he's good, man. He's got like the moxie you want on the mound, the smile, and the fun, and then to go back to back with a new pitch mix is just like fully bought in, like open to the coaching. I don't know. I'm just like making assumptions here, but it's cool.
He looks like a big game pitcher, which is, I think you kind of have that, to be honest with you. Like, you at least have to have the confidence to do that. And like, facing the Yankees, a big bad lineup, your first 2 starts with a new team where you're still getting acclimated with everything, and like, I think it's great.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought that. You asked me, you faced Luis Castillo twice against the Yankees. We talked about that when he first got traded over. I would have said, hey man, like if he goes 6 and gives up a couple runs, or whatever, like, but he's been pretty much dominant.
And the Yankees hit the game before. They might have something on Gilbert. I don't think so, but they hit Gilbert pretty easily. My stand-up performance is a Royal. Brady Singer. He changed something. I forget what it was, but he's been good for a little bit. I think he had 1 slip after being good. He shuts down the White Sox. 7.1 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. Same situation as Castillo. Had faced them his last start, and they got 11 hits off him. Only 4 earned runs, 11 hits. I was facing those White Sox again, and he goes into the 8th inning, only 1 earned run. He changed something that he's doing. I mean, he had a no-hitter versus the Yankees 3 starts ago. He's on a bit of a run here, July through August. Now that one White Sox start might switch it, but 2.45 ERA in his last 7 games started. And what he's done is he's upping his sinker even more. Halfway through the year, he just upped his sinker. But it's not a swing and miss pitch at all. He's pitching to contact more. It's only got a 7% whiff rate. But that's what a two-seamer is supposed to do.
Yeah, quick at bats, keep the pitch count down. Hopefully you can go deeper into games, all that stuff.
I think, did they fire their pitching coach, or did they talk about firing their pitching coach? So like, we keep forgetting about the Royals. They had all these young prospects, and then they weren't panning out. And now Singer's been pretty good. So good job by him.
Yeah, I got 3.49 on the year. Young guy too. This was never going to be Kansas City's year, but it's nice to see, like, some of the guys that you want to be there for the long haul, like, have some success. And there was a stat on, I think Farm to Fame put it out. Peter and I talked about this also. 27 straight RBIs for the Royals this last week were all gotten by rookies. 27 straight.
Really?
So you could look at that 2 ways. One is there's a lot of rookies in the lineup, or 2, the veterans in that lineup haven't got the job done at all. But I tend to think of it like, hey, it's pretty cool that the young guys are coming up. They're given a chance to get acclimated, and they're performing a little bit.
Yeah. He had 29 swings on his sinker, and he had 15 balls put in play. And I'm wonder how many went for hits. I don't think that many. Should be able to find that soon. 2. 2 went for hits out of the 15 balls put in play. So we're getting outs with it. It's a good pitch. Don't always got to strike everyone out. Tell him, Brady. Beebs, you got to stand out?
Keep it tight, running a little long. Just shout out to Chris Bassett. 8 innings, 1 unearned run. We said it when the Mets got him, but with the rotation they've got, he's just like a bonus piece, and that's pretty nuts. I know it's against the Reds. I know the Mets are just really good, but Bassett, like you.
And Bassett told him to come out to the song.
Yeah, that was very nice of him to do for all of us.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go. Slump Watch.
Slump
Watch.
Sean Murphy, 0 for 13. Come on. Eugenio Suarez, 0 for 9. Big strikeout in the extra inning game. Nice pitch by Lou. Trevino.
Yes.
Mariners won the game. He got him last time, so the Yankees were paying extra special attention to Eugenio. Dylan Carlson, 0 for 9. He had 2 walks. Devers back, returns, 1 for 12. Maybe he's been back. 1 intentional walk. Good for them. And then Rhys Hoskins, he had hit 4 games with homers in a row, maybe 5 or was, and he goes
coming off
1
a
for
best
11.
friend of the week award.
Got the best friend of the week. So yeah, they just knew, like, let's take care of this guy. He's hot. And Hoskins said, fine, I'll go 1 for 11 because my boy JT is going to light you up. Team baseball. That's what it's all about.
Love that.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
How do you say this guy's name, Trev? Joey Meneses?
Yes.
Yeah.
5 for 8 with 3 bombs. How about that? Also 3 bombs. Another fun name. Vinny Pasquantino lit up the White Sox. He went 6 for 14 with 3 homers. Good for him. Aaron Judge, he had 2 homers, 4 for 9, 4 walks. Nolan Arenado, talked about him going home to his old home in Colorado, 5 for 14 with 2 homers. Tommy Pham. I have not seen him in a Red Sox uniform yet.
We will
Seen,
tonight.
or maybe I have, but I just never had my brain go, oh yeah,
Started
that's
out hot.
see him tonight. 4 for 14 with 2 homers and 2 doubles. Brendan Rodgers, 8 for 14 with the homer and 5 RBIs. Mountcastle, 4 for 7, homer, 2 doubles. I think he crushes the Blue Jays. Emmanuel Rivera, 5 for 11, homer, 2 doubles. And JJ Bleday, that's a name I haven't heard in a while or said in a while. That is so fun. 4 for 10 with a homer and a triple. Hey, your other guy, Taran Varva, 2 RBIs in game 2.
I'm telling you guys, as a baseball rat, dude. A rat.
Well, speaking of the Orioles, I'm going to give out my first award.
Okay, you go.
You guys already know who it is. It's the Smell of Gasoline Award.
And
And it goes to
gasoline.
What's that?
I like the smell of gasoline.
Goes to Rougned Odor
I do
because
too.
the smell of gasoline, even people that like it will admit it's bad, but they like it. Is pungent, gets your attention,
Okay.
but then it will wake you up a little bit. It'll energize you a little bit. But you don't want to, but like Odor's numbers are bad, Trev. But his impact on the
Yes.
team is huge. And
Yes.
this is what he did to the Yankees last year. His numbers were bad. So it was like, we can't keep playing this guy. And then you go on a 3-game stretch where you'd be like, fuck, do I like Odor? And then he's the first one over the railing, hyping up all his teammates, coming through in somewhat clutch moments. You're like, fuck, is this guy, like, let's keep him around. Do I like him? And then he goes on a 4-game like stretch of like 0 for 15. You're like, you look at his numbers, you're like 67 OPS plus, like, get this guy out of here. He stinks. And then you're like, he makes a pick and like screams, and you're like, fuck, I kind of like the smell of this stink though. He's a weird guy. He's a veteran guy that's, I think, really helping this Orioles club with the fire. Like, if he's on the White Sox, is he helping them with like the spirit and the fire? That's what he did for the Yankees last year. They like leaned on him as a leader because they were directionless, the Yankees last year. So he is just super interesting to me. He's not that old, but he's been in the league forever. And he just comes through, and he had a clutch home run, made the last out of the game. You're like, shit, he's part of this team. And then you go look at the stats and you're like, oh my God, that's not good.
Have you seen his leverage splits, Jim?
Yes, his high leverage numbers are insane.
Yeah, and medium and low leverage. He has a batting average in the ones and an OPS in the mid to high fives. High leverage, 250 batting average, 830 OPS.
Look, I was a teammate with this guy through spring training, the vaunted spring training of 2018 with the Rangers. And I got to play against him a lot. And I think he's always kind of been like an enigma for me. And I think I might have an answer to the high leverage, low leverage thing. He got paid really early on in his career. So like there hasn't been a lot of times, man, when you're still hunting that payday, like you're locked in all the time. You're trying to get there. You've sacrificed your entire life. Like you understand the window. He didn't have to do that. He got paid, like I said, very early on. So maybe he needs the pressure. Like he needs the pressure. He needs to feel that. But he is like a good guy in the clubhouse. Like I liked my time around him. He did work hard. It was like him and Elvis Andrus. We would all go out and take ground balls together, and he would put in work. I like your comparison to the gasoline thing. You're not really supposed to be smelling it, but when you do smell it, hey, I like it.
Another thing about high leverage numbers for lefties like that is that a lot of times higher leverage situations mean there's runners on base and 2 outs or something, and teams will not shift the lefty. Like if he's up with no one on and no one out, second baseman's probably playing right center and shortstop's playing on the right side. This was Kyle Seager last year, and a lot of Mariners fans were like, well, it's the shift, it's not the leverage. The shift goes away and he gets hits. I don't know if that's the case, but it is just something that like you have to check on with the high leverage for lefties like that.
I love it. My we'll move on to my award. My award, I got a couple different names for it. We can call it the Go Mox Yourself Award. We can call it Don't Eat All the Cookies Award. I don't know. It's about having too much of a good thing because we know about the Astros starting pitching. They can line up right now and throw Verlander, Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, and Urquidy. That's 5 deep right there, but they're getting Lance McCullers Jr. back. He's pitching tomorrow against the A's. The Moxie King is back. Hasn't pitched since he came out of the game in the ALDS. So he's worked his way back the entire season. And just when, we don't even really talk about the Astros a lot because they have such a big lead. I think they have the best record in the AL right now. They're getting
they just grabbed that.
They're getting a guy back that like puts him on another tier again. Like, what are they going to do with this rotation? They already had to get rid of Jake Odorizzi, who was pitching to a 3.75 with them. They had to get rid of him because they had too many pitchers. They're going to go to a 6-man rotation, and it's not like a shitty 6-man rotation like you usually have. It's like you have 6 guys that are really good. So now we can piggyback these guys during the playoffs. And now, like, if we need to have, a starter comes out early, we don't have to really worry about the bullpen because we're going to have 6 guys stretched out. Maybe a couple of these guys, that's going to be the role. Like we're going to put you in a position where you throw 3 to 4 innings. The Astros are getting better. And I think that's a very, very scary thing for the rest of the league, for all of baseball. Because this isn't just like some pitcher, dude. I mean, this guy is a guy that can be dominant, who, like Odor, loves pressure situations, seems to step up in the big games, and he's coming back. He's going to have some time to get his pitch count up. They're not going to have to do a lot of stuff with him because they have the depth and because they have the big lead. So they're going to be able to take their time with him, get him where he needs to be, and then bam, postseason comes. And they're going to have decisions to make about who the starters are going to be, but they're also going to be locked in. We're like, hey, we can do so many different things. Dusty is going to just have a field day. We got 6 legitimate starters.
Throw something to the pen. Dusty has a plan. He always does.
It's crazy, man. So like, it's kind of gone under the radar because they don't need him and they have the lead in the division. But McCullers coming back is about as big of a pickup as you can get. So, Bill Mox yourself.
Ooh, go Mox yourself. Beebs, do you have an award? Do you want to give one away?
I do. It's the Best Friend of the Week award.
Ooh.
And it's going to Jamison Tyone. 7 innings, 3 earned. Battled through that 1 inning and survived and kept going to get through 7. We liked watching it. 6 Ks, 3 hits, 3 walks. His 4th of the year.
No knock on
tied
JMO,
for the
but
lead.
kind of a week. Our friends didn't have a great week.
Not a
That's
great
the
week.
best.
It's Hap's birthday, and he gets to go to Cincinnati where he always walks away with a homer, so I think he's due for one on Monday.
Nice
So
double
Alright.
happer in the game.
I'm trying to premonition his.
Wow, I like that.
Happer
Okay.
had like a really short mic'd up inning, and Joey Votto had like a really long mic'd up inning. I
Well,
think Happer liked it that way.
what's that?
I think Happer liked it that way.
Yeah, he's good with those, but he also gets out. Yeah, they
It
are.
happens.
All right, let's stimulate. We got new stuff going on. Just to let everybody know, the Guardians are the winners of the Central now, and they host the 6th seed Rays for a 3-game set. That's an interesting series.
The Rays.
The Rays win it in Cleveland. Damn, that'd be
Okay,
the second
I'm
time
in
because the 2020 wild card was in Cleveland. Yankees beat them. All right, Blue Jays and Mariners. That's a fun matchup. It would be the Mariners flying to Canada to play the Blue Jays at home. Robbie Ray returns. Who wins that?
The Mariners are going to win that.
I mean, Castillo Ray is a nice one too. If Gilbert gets back, they're tough. Okay. Rays Yankees in the divisional series.
The Yankees.
Of
Obviously.
course.
The Rays burned all their relievers in the 3-game
Oh, yeah.
set. They don't even have
Yeah, but
starters.
all they have is relievers.
Exactly. They burned them. Mariners and Astros in the divisional series.
The Astros.
Yes.
Yeah, it's inevitable. AL goes through Houston. All right, on the other side, this is blank. Who's the 6th seed right now in the wild card? Is it a tie or something?
I'm getting it
Pulling-
up right now.
I think I have the Padres as the last wild card team.
Yeah, the Padres. So the Padres would be going to St. Louis
Yes.
to play the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
That's a fun series. Wow, Padres heart's getting ripped out by the stimulator. Jeez.
It's tough.
Star Soda.
They made the World Series last week.
All right, Phillies and the Braves. The 5 and the 4. Phillies go to Atlanta. This would be a heated opening match. Divisional rivals.
Braves still got it.
I like the Phillies pitching when it's good.
I've been trying to say this for a long
Any
time.
given
guys.
night, they're capable of having the best pitcher on the field.
Dodgers and Braves in the divisional series.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cardinals and Mets.
The Mets.
Yeah.
Dodgers Mets is nice.
I mean, this is a loaded Final Four, Beebs. You're making MLB
know.
money here with the stimulation. Dodgers and
Just
Mets.
hoping to get a cut.
Dodgers Mets championship series. Who's going to the World Series?
The Dodgers.
Damn. One of the Mets. Yankees Astros. Who's going?
Houston's
Astros have home
going.
field advantage right now. What?
Oh, we're getting the matchup, people.
What did he say? I didn't hear it.
Houston.
Damn. Astros Dodgers. A rematch. A rematch of 2017.
The Dodgers.
Oh.
And the Dodgers do it in your face, Houston. Take all your starters and shove them up your
No
butt.
more Mickey Mouse. No more Mickey Mouse.
That's what they're going to chant. No more Mickey Mouse. No more
Magic
Mickey
Johnson's gonna have the best tweet ever about this.
Damn. He would. He would have a good tweet. All right. Hey, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. See
Love
ya.
you guys. The only time I mentioned Jake in this episode was during the stimulation. He wasn't dancing. That's it.